Hello there, everyone. Space Toyster here, and welcome back to Charmander Conquers Sinnoh. Oh god, the lag. Anyway, in the last part, we made our way to Flower Power Tower Town, and in this part, we're going to be finishing off with Team Galactic stuff in the Valley Windworks. Ugh. The lag is unbearable, but sadly I am not too sure what a good solution would be, since it really seems to be that my PC is just chugging while trying to record, the gameplay footage, play the game, and also run audio capture. I could always just run the audio capture and the gameplay capture at the same time. That would probably ease some of the strain. Oh god. But, yeah, that doesn't really help out too much. Let's see. Give me just a second to try something. Well, first let's head on in. What? No way, you have the key? Locking the door was meaningless. I am the loser in this after all. This is no time for self-pity. I've got to alert the commander. Alright. Yeah, let me try minimizing a few things. Lag. Okay. I think that just made things worse. It's tough to say. Let's try minimizing that too. There we go, there we go. I don't know if that made any noticeable difference. Oh, this is no fun and game. This is proper work, I tell you. Who cares? You're a joke. You're Team Plasma. No, Galactic. Honestly, all these villainous team nouns keep running together. Alright, anyway. In the last part, Fire Pun also learned Dragon Rage. It's super overpowered. See? See? Well, not see. Anyway, I was doing a little bit of research into Platinum, and it looks like, I was looking into other Pokemon that learned Dragon Rage in Platinum, and I really only found two, and neither of them are available this early. So, the other two are Gible, who does start with it, as I suspected last time. The other one is Gyarados. Gyarados learns Dragon Rage at about level 23-ish. So that means that the earliest available Dragon Rage would either be to catch Gible, which is available in a later route after the second gym, but only in Platinum. In Diamond and Pearl, you can't get Gible until you get Strength, which is very late in the game, I think. And then for getting Dragon Rage on Gyarados, it learns it at level 23, which it probably won't get to until about the same point that you can catch Gible in Platinum. And I did run the numbers, and any level you catch Gible at, it'll have Dragon Rage, from its lowest level to its highest level. Alright, anyway, let's stick to using Amber for now. I know Dragon Rage could probably just sweep through them, but, we want to make things slightly interesting, so go for the 2-hit KO from Ember instead of the 1-hit KO from Dragon Rage. Ho ho! Especially since it's probably a move I'm not supposed to have at this point. Alright, anyway. And yeah, that didn't really seem to help out my lag too much. That's unfortunate. Alright. Yeah, so the only other solution I can think of would either be to record the commentary in post, or something else entirely. I'm one of Team Galactic's 3 commanders. No, wait, that's one of 4 commanders. My name is Mars. We've been trying to create a new world that's better than this one, but people have shown little understanding about what we do. You don't understand either, do you? It's a little saddening. So, let's have a battle to decide what we should do next. If I win, you leave. If you win, we, Team Galactic, will leave. Yeah, Platinum added a new character for Team Plasma. I forget his name, he's that forgettable. He doesn't actually do anything, and it's a little embarrassing. Alright, anyway, our Fire Pun is gonna burn that bat. Aw, yeah. I do count. Oh my goodness, Toxic. Well, that's just not fair. But on the other hand, it means Fire Pun can't be afflicted by other status conditions. What do you think you're doing to my Pokemon? I'm going to KO it. That's what you're supposed to do in a Pokemon battle. Alright, anyway, it's really neat that her Zubat knows Toxic. You'd think that would be a status condition they wouldn't use so early on, but I would be wrong in assuming that. Anyway, that's the Zubat down. Fire Pun gains experience, hurt by poison. Alright, I don't know if swapping out resets the poison counter, but I kind of want to swap out anyway, because that Ugly is going to lead with Fake Out, most likely. A lot of cat-based Pokemon learn Fake Out. There we go. And by having it hit Badoo, or Plant Pun I should say, there we go. It poisons it. And now Ugly is on a clock too, although I do believe it has I do believe it has a berry equipped, so it'll heal up if its HP gets low. Plant Pun can take it, though. I believe in you, Plant Pun. Plant Pun is not doing so hot, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Oh my goodness, you scratched my Plant Pun. How dare. Alright, well, with the Ugly having used up its berry, I believe we should be good. Actually, I should be trying to make better use of berries on my own playthrough. Oh, right. In the last part, we got our hands on honey, and I didn't even talk about what it does. So, honey, you put it on a tree, and then you wait 6 hours, and then after the 6 hours have passed, you come back, and there will be a Pokemon there. Let's see. I think Fire Pun might be too weak to... oh no, we survived on 1 HP, folks. We did it! Yeah, I don't think Fire Pun would have won that without Dragon Rage. Dragon Rage is broken AF. Anyway, you put the honey on the tree, you wait 6 hours, you come back, and there'll be a Pokemon there. It's a very garbage mechanic. You can save before you check the tree, so that way if you can re-roll the Pokemon's gender and whatnot, but you can't re-roll what Pokemon shows up there. Oops, I messed that one up. That's alright though, I quite enjoyed our battle. My, lose to a child, will you? But no matter, we've collected plenty of electricity. With the power we obtained, we can do something quite spectacular. It seems quite obvious to me, Charon, the genius even the boss recognizes. Now, Mars, we should be going. Will you shut it? The boss is the only person in the world who's allowed to order me around. You can keep quiet around me. You only joined us recently. Don't think you're important. I guess it's time to say goodbye and leave for the time being. Yeah, that was the new guy, Charon. He wasn't in Diamond and Pearl, and I don't remember what he does in Platinum, so yeah. Team Galactic. They were saying they had to gather Pokemon and energy no matter what. It was for creating a new universe, or so they claimed. Nothing they said made any sort of sense to me. I can't tell you how grateful I am for you saving me. I can finally see my little daughter again. Papa! Yuck, Papa, you're stinky. Go shower now, stinky. Oh, sorry. They had me working non-stop. Thank you, trainer. You made those bad people go away. I think the balloon Pokemon will come visiting again. Oh, right, yeah, that's a thing in, a thing after the Valley Windworks is that after you defeat Team Galactic, there on Fridays, a Pokemon shows up here at the Windworks, and that Pokemon is Drifloon. Drifloon is one of the weirdest, creepiest Pokemon ever. Ah, yes, it is you, yes. I have heard that the Team Galactic appeared at this power plant. I have, therefore, come running. So, the Team Galactic, where are they? ... You have run them off, you say. You are a trainer, but... Very well, I shall go investigate inside. That's weird. Now my thing's not chugging. Maybe it only chugs when I have access to the controls. Magnificent! Yes, it is. What you have said, it is all true. Superb! Though you are young, you are a trainer through and through. Very well, I shall pursue the culprits. I have received tips that the Team Galactic hideout is in Eterna City. To there, I must be off. He talks funny. I wonder if he's supposed to have an accent. I don't know much about Japanese. As far as I know, I think it's possible for people to have accents based on just, well, obviously the way they say things. That was a really stupid sentence. Anyway, not the point. The point is, I believe they tried to give Looker an accent, and in English they just had it, or they just made it so his sentences were really choppy. Weird thing. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So, honey, you slather it on a tree, you come back 6 hours later, there's a Pokemon there. And most of the Pokemon you can get from the honey trees are shit. There are a few exclusives, and much more commonly, there are a few not exclusives in the honey trees. So, yeah. Alright, anyway. Let's give Plant Pun some experience as we go through the next route. Ooh. Chug. Chugging. I do not like the lag. Hey, how about... I don't care what you're saying. I want you to make the lag stop, Shorts kid. Wait, you're a camper. Maybe you're not a Shorts kid. What he does have is Ponyta. I did actually get started on that other playthrough using Ponyta, and I am quickly learning that Ponyta sucks. It's even worse than Diamond and Pearl. In Diamond and Pearl, the only fire move Ponyta gets until about level 50-ish is Ember. Around level 50-ish, it'll be a Rapidash, and that's when it learns Fire Blast. Ponyta is not a special attacker, it is physical, and the only fire moves it learns by itself are special fire moves. Only the very last fire move it gets is Flare Blitz, which I think is, in the high 50s, and Flare Blitz has Recoil. Oh god, why is it so slow? Anyway, so, yeah, that makes Ponyta even worse. They fixed it a little bit in Platinum by giving it access to Flame Wheel at a lower level. So, Flame Wheel is a physical fire type move that it can use. But, yeah, in Diamond and Pearl, where it's the only fire type available, if you didn't start with Chimchar, it is so horrible that I would just recommend using Starly. So what makes Starly really good, aside from everything else that's great about Starly, is that it learns flying type moves and a fighting type move in close combat. With the combination of flying and fighting type moves, Starly has the exact same coverage as a fire type Pokemon. Flying type moves hit grass and bug, super effective, and then fighting hits ice and steel. So that's basically a fire type for you on a not fire type. But it gets the job done, and Starly is infinitely better than Ponyta could ever possibly be. Oh good god, why'd they make Ponyta so terrible in this? Yeah. Alright, anyway, what were we going on about? Well, I don't know if I was going on about anything else. I was talking about Dragon Rage, but we pretty much already said everything I need to say about that, too. Charmander gets access to it at a much earlier level than anything normally available in Platinum, so it is a huge asset. And one I intend to abuse religiously should I continue to need to do so, like with that battle against Mars there. If I did not use Dragon Rage there, I probably would have lost that first battle. And I've also been considering training up the Shinx I have with me. Well, actually, no, not that Shinx. I was thinking of starting to train up an electric type, because I have my eyes on an electric type that's available later. And, so yeah, I was thinking of just getting started on training one up, since, based on the time that I usually record, I won't be able to evolve Plant Pun into a Roselia. But, the more I've been looking at the other Pokemon I want to use, another one is going to be available around the second gym, and that Pokemon will be able to provide some of the coverage that I get from using Plant Pun. So I just gotta hold out and get that one, and then there's another Pokemon nearby that I want to use as a filler, and then go from there. Alright, there we go. Anyway, actually, one thing I've actually been seeing as a major complaint with Scarlet and Violet that I actually do not disagree with is that there aren't a lot of different trainers or different trainer classes in Scarlet and Violet. Most of the enemy trainers you will come across to battle are students. And the fellow making the complaints about all the trainers basically being students is that it doesn't add enough variety, because it makes it just seem like everyone's a student and you can't tell what Pokemon they're going to use. While I agree with the first part of that point, it really makes the world of Paldea seem so small and non-varied when pretty much everyone you encounter is a student. I do like the fact that it doesn't preempt what types of Pokemon they use. I prefer not being able to tell at a glance what Pokemon I'm going to be facing from any particular trainer. That said, though, Scarlet and Violet are modern Pokemon games. They're going to be piss baby easy, and most trainers are only going to have one Pokemon, 2 if you're lucky, and 3 if they're feeling like they want the trainer to be somewhat challenging. Ugh. Yeah, anyway, Pachirisu here. Pachirisu is available around this point, and I have actually been considering getting it as filler, because it is an electric type, and yada yada yada. But I think I'll skip it. Yeah, Plant Pun should be able to get enough done in the meantime, and then I can rely on some other critters I can catch between now and when the other ones I want to use are available. Which I'm actually kind of forgetting about. Oh wait, no, I remember. Okay. Maybe I should write it down somewhere. I don't know. Sometimes with Pokemon, it's a lot of fun to pre-plan your playthrough, figure out which critters you want to use when they're available earliest, and then go for them right away. Other times, it's nice to just jump right in and catch what you can find as you can find it, without any planning whatsoever. It honestly makes the first playthrough of a Pokemon game one to cherish, similar to Dark Souls, because if you don't do any prior research, you have no idea what enemy trainers you're going to encounter, what levels they're going to be at, and when you're going to get useful Pokemon. It kind of makes randomizers really neat in that respect, too. But at the same time, I'm actually not very fond of using Pokemon randomizers, because I do like to be able to know what I can get when and where, and then how to make the most of what's available at certain points in the game. If the game is particularly well designed, then that can actually, the Pokemon that are available can actually lead to alternate solutions beyond just, leveling up. One example is I've been started up a playthrough on Black 2, and through the power of cheating, I have been able to enable the challenge mode that was only available in Black 2 and White 2. Anyway, so the first gym leader in Black and White 2 uses normal type critters, and the only fighting type Pokemon available early on is Riolu. but it's a very rare encounter, and you need to get it to level 11 before it'll learn its first fighting type move. So it's not a perfect solution, considering the gym leader on challenge mode, he has a half flying type, although it doesn't know any flying type moves if Bulbapedia is accurate. But that's not the point. The point is, his critters are around levels 12 and 14. And the Riolu will learn its first fighting type move at level 11. So if you attempt to take Sharon on, the first gym leader Sharon, if you attempt to take him on at a reasonable point in time, or as early as possible, you'll likely be under-leveled with that little Riolu. And if you've been using your starter to sweep through pretty much everything, well, Generation 5 actually has a variable, I'm going to call it variable EXP point system. So Pokemon will earn more experience if they battle something that's at a higher level than them, and they'll earn significantly less the higher their level advantage is. It makes it very difficult to grind in that game if you need to, since most of the wild Pokemon are going to be at a lower level, and they're not going to reward a lot of experience. Grinding early on is especially difficult because one Pokemon they introduce purely for the grind, Audino, does not spawn until after you beat the first gym. Anyway, so getting Riolu would be one solution to defeating that first gym in a more expedient manner. Another possible solution that I actually think might work for that first gym, well, in Black and White too, is there's Mareep available, and Mareep has the ability Static, so when it gets hit with a physical move, it has a, I believe, 30% chance to paralyze the opponent, and it also learns Thunder Wave, which will paralyze the opponent. And inflicting a status condition will cripple the gym leader and their Pokemon, making it significantly easier for you to take him out with whatever else you happen to have trained up. So, yeah, when the games are well designed, there are usually solutions to the problems in the overworld that make things easier to deal with. Oh yeah, this is basically a Pokemon Center. If we actually go back to, or another good example of that is in Generation 3, but only in Sapphire and Emerald, oddly enough. In Ruby, it's not there. But you can catch Sableye before the second gym leader. So the second gym leader uses fighting types, and Sableye is a ghost type, and so thanks to that, the second gym leader can't do much of anything to Sableye, making it a very ideal catch. Like, the moment you get your hands on a Sableye, it can deal with the second gym leader almost no problem. You just have to be wary of the move Foresight, because that'll make it vulnerable to fighting type moves rather than immune. Or I should say weak to, because vulnerable and weak to are very different things. That was a hard lesson I learned in Final Fantasy XII. You could set people up to use a specific element of magic as long as the opponent is vulnerable to it. And apparently what the AI considers vulnerable is not immune, so they would spam an element that the enemy absorbs, even though they don't take damage from it. So, yeah. It's a very weird situation. Or something to that effect. I forget exactly how it worked. But the point was, I would have to be careful while playing Final Fantasy XII. Alright, anyway, in we go to whatever this forest is called. Eterna Forest. Oh my goodness, it's chugging. Hello, my name's Cheryl, and you are? Okay, so your name is Lucas. I'm sincerely glad to meet you. Lucas, may I ask a big favor of you? I want to get through this forest, but I'm afraid of doing it alone. I've heard that there is a sinister group of people called Team Galactic about. I think there'd be safety in numbers. Please, may I go through with you? Wait, I didn't even get to say yes or no. Alright, so Cheryl here is a mechanic that they really only used in Generation 4, and really only in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. So she is a following trainer. So, for as long as we're in Eterna Forest, every wild Pokemon battle we'll get into will be a double battle. Cheryl will send out her own Pokemon to battle alongside us, and after every single battle, she is going to fully heal our Pokemon. So, we can battle everything and anything without having to be reserved. And as you can see, she has a Chansey, so she is going to be useless dead weight here. Yeah, her Chansey doesn't even know any useful moves, so it might as well not be there. Oh wait, these are regular trainers. Why am I reading their dialogue? No one cares about their dialogue. They are cannon fodder. Oh, which actually leads me to another thing I hate about Scarlet and Violet, although I should probably save it for the review, because, well, I'm working on a review for that. Yeah. Anyway, what was it? Oh, right. All trainer battles are pretty much optional in Scarlet and Violet. While there are trainers running about, they will not battle you unless you walk up to them and ask or talk to them. Otherwise, they're just content to stand there and do nothing. Oh, wow, that did nothing. Okay, that Pachirisu is going to hit pretty hard, and it looks like they're going to gang up on Chansey. Alright, let's see here. Let's go ahead and try to stun spore the Pachirisu. Never mind, it knew I was going to do that, so it poisoned itself before I could. How selfish and rude. I could just use some growths, so that way Plant Pun will do more damage with Mega Drain, but I'm going to need to swap Plant Pun out to deal with the other guy. The other guy's a bug catcher, so he's going to basically use bug-type Pokemon exclusively. And guess what grass is weak to? Or rather, guess what resists grass? That's the more important thing. Oh, wow. Plant Pun's Poison Point is putting in a lot of work. Chansey has not attacked once. This is so unfair. It got paralyzed turn 1, and it got fully paralyzed turn 1. Bide? It's a little late for that, don't you think? Actually, it was going to faint to poison no matter what I did. I could have just swapped out now. Whatever. Anyway, another weird feature about all these double battles is that since we have an AI partner, her Pokemon doesn't gain any experience, so all the experience points get to go to our Pokemon. So it can actually make the trek through Eterna Forest a great way to grind if you feel like you need to prepare for the next gym. Since I'm trying to go at a moderately fast pace, I'm not going to take too much advantage of that on this playthrough. Alright, anyway, Fire Pun! Oh, right, and I guess one other thing I should mention is that I am, well, in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, the professor tasks you with seeing every Pokemon in the region. He doesn't care if you catch them all. Well, I think he does, but not really. But the ultimate goal is to see them all, not necessarily catch them all. And so to that end, it is actually possible to see every Pokemon and the regional Pokédex in a single playthrough. Just make sure you battle every trainer and yada yada yada, and you should be good. Which is particularly why it makes Generation 4 games really good ones to experiment with outside, other critters. Or, well, no, it doesn't really make them particularly good. It's Generation 4 is the only time I can think of where they actually require you to fill out the Pokédex in a weird semi-half fashion or whatever. But because the goal is to see every Pokemon in the Pokédex, it is they also have encounters with folks who are using Pokemon you otherwise might not see in a playthrough. So, for example, since I supposedly started with Chimchar, in theory, I would not see anyone using Chimchar, Monferno, or the final form Infernape. But they have trainers using all of those Pokemon at other points in the game, so we are going to see all of Chimchar's forms eventually, even though technically the only way I would be able to see it is by evolving my own Chimchar that I don't actually have. Anyway, so yeah, the goal of unlocking the national dex on this playthrough is still theoretically possible, even though I'm using a Pokemon that doesn't exist in the regional Pokédex. Anyway, these guys with the Abras, they are very neat. So, Abra is a surprisingly pretty really strong critter. It only knows teleport by itself, but if you can teach it something, then it'll do really well. These two Abra here both know Hidden Power, and the Hidden Power type on both of them is Fighting. I believe they were supposed to be able to counter Chansey, but that also just highlights how good of a tank Chansey is, or rather, how high its special defense is, because, yeah, they're not taking Chansey out anytime soon. And, well, I'm not sure if Ember would have been a one-shot there. Dragon Rage probably would have. But I went for Scratch because while Abra has high special defense, its physical defense is really low. So even though my Fire Pun is a poor physical attacker, Scratch overall might do more damage. That's just one of those weird things that's difficult to calculate on the fly, is figuring out when you have both physical and special moves, which one to use. And it can be very, very tricky. Let's see. Ooh, a Ghastly. Ghastly, that might be interesting. I don't have anything in place to allow me to evolve that Ghastly into a Gengar, but it might be worth catching. So let's go ahead and get rid of that Badoo. Oh yeah, catching Pokemon while you're traveling with Cheryl might actually be more trouble than it's worth, because they do not allow you to throw Pokeballs unless there is only one Pokemon, which is, you know, god-awful. For some odd reason, they don't allow you to target Pokemon in double battles, even though that was a thing that could be done in the last generation, granted only on the GameCube games, so maybe it's a hardware limitation. But it also means that if you fail to catch the Pokemon, Cheryl will knock it out for you. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to use the Ghastly, so I'm not going to give it a nickname, but it's there if I want it. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh yeah. And then, while you're trying to take out one critter and soften up the other, Cheryl might decide, you know what, I hate it both. I hate it, and just KO it for you anyway. You know, she's so nice like that. Anyway, Baniri. Baniri is an interesting Pokemon to talk about. It's a somewhat early game normal type, and Baniri is very noteworthy in that it's a friendship-based evolution, but wild Baniri are always programmed to have the lowest possible friendship the moment you catch them, so it takes a long time for Baniri to evolve. And I think they try to highlight that for the player by having wild Baniri start with Frustration. Well, when the game has Frustration. Or the move Frustration, I should say, because Frustration, it deals more power the more the Pokemon hates you. I do believe it does basically the same amount of damage that Return would do when the Pokemon really likes you. And since it's a lot easier to make a Pokemon like you than it is to make a Pokemon hate you, Return is usually the much better option to go for compared to using Frustration, since keeping a Pokemon's affection low is a arduous task. It's not something I would recommend going with. For a Pokemon's affection to go into the to be particularly low, you have to let it faint constantly, and I think that's pretty much the only way to get it down. Oh wait, no, there's also bitter medicine, but if it likes bitter flavors, then that's not even gonna work. But beyond that, increasing a Pokemon's friendship is so effortless that it's probably going to be maxed out in a matter of moments. Literally moments. Pokemon get more friendly when the moment you send them out to battle, just by walking around with them in your party, and whenever they defeat an opponent for you, their friendship will also go up. So yeah, very, very effortless. And it also kind of makes friendship-based evolutions frustrating, because it's an invisible stat. They never really show it to you. So it's difficult to measure just how close you are to evolving a Pokemon who needs a high friendship to evolve. It just gets so tedious. And it's a shame this Dustox is not wild, because I would like to catch it. But, oh well. Anyway, I think I was going on about something, and I already forgot what it was. Oh, I don't know. Well, anyway, if you're playing a game that has a Pokemon that evolves by trade, like Ghastly, but you don't have the ability to trade it, I would still say it is probably worth your time to level it up anyway. A lot of Pokemon that evolve into their final form based on trades are good enough, even if they can't reach their final stage. Haunter and Kadabra are both prime examples of that. If you use Haunter or Kadabra, they will excel plenty fine whether or not you can fully evolve them. Although, it goes without saying that Gengar and Alakazam are still much better than Kadabra and Haunter. Not respectively, because I put those in the reverse the order at some point there. Yeah. Although that line of thinking also has me, well, I guess regretting is the right word, that so many Pokemon, with so many Pokemon, their final form is just so objectively better than any of the forms that come before it, that there's not much point to not evolving, or you're just better off finding Pokemon that you can fully evolve if their stats end up being higher than the middle form. So another example of that would be why use Haunter if Misdreavus is available, because Misdreavus can evolve into Mismagius in this generation, and Mismagius would probably be better than Haunter. So, yeah, rather than go with Haunter, just go with Mismagius, and you have raw power on your side. And yeah, there are just very few Pokemon where it's the case where the lower stage has an advantage over the evolved form that you can capitalize on. I can't really think of too many Pokemon like that. In fact, there are only two that come to mind, those being Scyther and Torracat. So, Scyther, in comparison to its two evolved forms, Scizor and Kleavor, they all have the exact same base stat total, so upon evolving, it just changes its type and shuffles its stats around. In the case of, and I guess in both cases, Scyther will trade some of its speed for more strength and bulk. So you can make, Scyther by itself is perfectly viable since it's faster than its evolved forms and presumably strong enough to get the job done. But evolving into Scizor, and maybe Kleavor, I guess, it's only in Legends Arceus, so it's tough to tell or be definitive, but evolving and getting its type changed is also a huge advantage for Scyther anyway, so even though Scyther can stand on its own, evolving is still an undisputed advantage for it, but Scyther can still get the job done, is basically my whole point. Toro Cat, it's the evolved form of Litten, but it's not quite an Incineroar, it's the middle form. And it's, despite how much I actually do like Incineroar, I'm one of those weird people who doesn't hate Incineroar. Toro Cat has more speed and special attack than Incineroar does. Incineroar gets a lot more physical attack and bulk. So, even though Incineroar's stats are higher, or its base stat total is higher, Toro Cat has a niche that Incineroar does not, or has advantages over Incineroar, so there is a reason to not evolve it if you don't want an Incineroar. And in that case, I actually do enjoy that. I do like having the option to use a Pokemon one way rather than the other, based on just evolving it. And I think with Pokemon who evolve either by using an item on it or trading it, they could use more things like that. So it would have been very, very nice if it was more possible for if Haunter had advantages compared to Gengar, for example. But then again, they probably felt like they needed to make sure the obtuse evolutions were still objectively better than their lower stages, because they definitely want people to want to evolve their Pokemon in the way that is most expensive. In the case of Haunter, by trading it. Oh, I was supposed to read that. Anyway, this is my token of appreciation. Please accept it. A Soothe Bell. Oh. It seems very deliberate. I'm sure we'll meet again somewhere. Bye for now. Anyway, yeah, it seems very deliberate that she gives you a Soothe Bell, considering you catch Baniri in that forest. Baniri's a friendship evolution. Oh my god, the lag. Anyway, all these guys are trainers you can battle. I think one of them isn't, but that's not the point. The point is, the next town is just right over there, so you can get to it without having to battle any more opponents, or without having to get into any more battles. So that's one way that this game was really nice to you, in that it lets you make it to the next town without having to battle at all, and then you can come back, battle those guys, and do all that yada yada yada. Anyway. So since we're almost in Eterna City, which is our next stop, we could call things off there, but the route on the other side of Eterna City, that is where one of the Pokemon I want to use is at, I believe. So we're gonna head over there, and I'm gonna see if I can catch it before I battle those fishermen on the dock. Wait, why am I healing? Cheryl healed our Pokemon. Anyway, what was I going on about? Oh, right. Generation 5, Black and White and all that, they added an item called the Evo Light, which boosts the defenses of Pokemon who can still evolve. So that does give some middle stage Pokemon useful niches. Oh god, thud. Hey Lucas, you came to see the Pokemon statue, right? I'll take you there. No, I did not come to see it, you insane, creepy, blonde-headed freak. Leave me alone. What the? So, this is Eterna's Pokemon statue. Shaping our world, our time and space in an intertwining spiral. Revered in Sinnoh are the Pokemon of time and space. Sinnoh's myth, its truth needs investigation. Pardon me, stand aside. Ugh, energy company people. Alright. Oh, hey, when we smacked together, a brilliant flash of inspiration came to me. An easy way to become a great trainer. Yeah, that. Alright, listen close. She's as absent-minded as I am. Make certain all your attacks hit. Avoid enemy attacks for sure. You do that, you'd never lose. You'd be the invincible trainer. Anyway, go check out the Pokemon statue. See you around. Yeah, unfortunately, Barry wasn't joking about that. In future battles, he will use evasion boosting moves and, always guaranteed hits. Or at least on one of his Pokemon anyway. Alright, let's see. Anyway. I believe the Pokemon I want is here on Route 211. Let me just run around in the grass here to see if I can find it. I'll cut ahead, and we'll see you in a bit. Here we go, Meditite. Yes, I intend to use Meditite on this playthrough. Let's see if we can stun Sport before it hits us and poisons itself. Alright, so Meditite is one of the more interesting Pokemon I find, because, stalling tactic, Meditite has the ability Pure Power. So what Pure Power will do is it doubles Meditite's attack. And not just its base stat, it doubles the displayed attack stat. So if it says it has 20 attack, it actually has 40. So that can make Meditite, and its evolved form Medicham, hit a lot harder than you would otherwise assume based on, well, just based on the thing that they're there. Alright, anyway. I've never used a Meditite before, so this seems like a good opportunity to give it a nice, good old shot. It's also half fighting, half psychic, and fighting and psychic are both very useful types, I find. I haven't even thought of a nickname for Meditite. And yes, unlike Plant Pun, Meditite is going to be a permanent addition. I intend to use it for the whole game from this point forward. Meditite's data was added to the Pokédex. Alright, anyway. So, it's based on yoga, and it's got pure power. And I have no idea what I want to name this thing. You know what, for now, we're just gonna go with Yoga Pun. If I think of a better nickname, I can change that, because the name raider in, the Sinnoh region lives in Eterna City, and we just got there, so now, if I think of better nicknames for my Pokemon, I can give them to, or change them, give them new nicknames. Which is still something that depresses me about modern Pokemon to this day. They never refer to my Pokemon by my clever nicknames that I give them. It's so depressing. Oh. Oh, that device you have. Is it a Pokédex? Wow, it brings back some memories. Pardon me, but what's your name? ... Okay, hello, Lucas. I'll be sure to remember that name. My name is Cynthia. I'm a trainer, just like you. I've been studying Pokemon mythology lately, just out of curiosity. Here in Eterna City, there is a statue of an ancient Pokemon. Have you seen it already? According to myth, it was an extremely powerful Pokemon. Who knows, you may encounter something like it while you're traveling with your Pokédex. Oh, I know, try using this. It should be helpful. HM01, oh my goodness. Thank you, Cynthia. Remember, the hidden move Cut can be used in the field. It will let you go places that were previously inaccessible to you. That's important for filling up your Pokédex, right? Then luck be with you, young trainer. Oh, there's one last thing. Please, give my regards to Professor Rowan. Yeah, Cynthia, if you know anything about Pokemon, you will know that Cynthia is one of the most amazingest characters ever. Well, one of the most popular characters at any rate. Cynthia is the champion of the region. So she's not just some trainer, she is the trainer, the bestest trainer, like no one ever was. I think she is also undisputedly the most popular champion. Well, a lot of folks really seem to like her at the very least. And it's not hard to see why, although once we get to the end of the game, you'll probably understand it even better. Anyway, not the point. The point is, Cynthia is really, really neat. I like her. She is definitely my favorite champion in the Pokemon series, and she's certainly not a disappointment, some weird-haired freak. Anyway, let's go ahead and battle those guys on a bridge and call it a day. We need to train up our Yogapun. Speaking of Yogapun, let's look at your stats, Yogapun. Hardy, happily eats anything, so that means it's got a neutral nature. So, some natures in Pokemon... Oh god, your moveset's terrible. Do I have any TMs I can give to you? Anyway, so some of the natures in Pokemon will have no effect on particular stats, so they won't so they technically increase and decrease the same stat simultaneously. We're not going to use Bide, we're going to drop that. And so if they have a nature, or if they have a description that says they'll happily eat anything, that's when you know they have one of those natures. Let's see, can you learn Bullet Seed? No. Plant Pun can, but I wouldn't recommend it. Bullet Seed's always a weird TM. I used to hate it as a kid because it's a very weak grass-type move that you get very early in the game, but it never dawned on me just what it was, which is a pure utility move. You have it for the early game when you don't have access to better grass-type moves, and that's the important part. It actually plays a very key role in Fire Red and Leaf Green. I already highlighted that in a different video, but whatever, we can repeat ourselves. So in Fire Red and Leaf Green, you get the TM for Bullet Seed in Mount Moon, and the only Pokemon besides Bulbasaur that can learn Bullet Seed at that point in the game is Paris, who is also available in Mount Moon. And Paris is the first grass type you can get your hands on, and the only one available before you get to Cerulean City, so if you need the help of a grass type Pokemon upon arriving in Cerulean City, Paris is your only option. Alright, let's use Confusion. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically the whole thing for Bullet Seed. Most of the time. I do believe they buffed it in later generations, so it actually deals pretty decent damage. And then some Pokemon can have skills that make Bullet Seed even better. One of them that is actually in this generation too is called Technician. Technician will boost the power of boost the damage you deal with any move that is below 60 base power, or I think at 60 base power or less. In Bullet Seed, he has either 10 or 25 power, so it'll get the boost from Technician. And another one is Skill Link, which guarantees that it'll hit 5 times, or all 5 times. So you could technically deal more damage with Technician, but Skill Link guarantees you're dealing the maximum possible damage you could with the move. So it's really a toss-up over which ability you would use. Oh, misclick there. But we hit, so it's fine. In any case, most of the time, Bullet Seed's just there to be an early game filler move for when you need a grass-type move early on. Alright, and this is taking a while, but I think we can take this Magikarp out with our last 3 Rock Tombs. Hopefully they don't miss. If they do, we'll just use Confusion. I mean, it would be faster to swap Meditite out for Plant Pun, but Yogapun's got this. Yogapun's gonna get all the juicy experience from Magikarp, but it's not really juicy because Magikarp does not give a lot of experience. I think Magikarp actually has one of the lowest experience points yields if you KO it. So it's really not worth battling. In fact, the only time Magikarp would be worth battling for experience is if you're at an extremely low level, you need to train something up, and you have to make sure that you are able to attack without being retaliated against. That is pretty much the only situation where battling Magikarp for experience would be worth your time. Alright, anyway, we ranted about bullet seed, so I guess we could rant about physical rock type moves. All but one of them. Yeah, that is pretty much an accurate statement. Wait, no, two. Maybe two. Anyway, all but one of the rock type moves that I know of that are physical have less than 100% accuracy. The only one I can think of that is not guaranteed to hit most of the time is Excel Rock, the signature move of Lichen Rock. So Excel Rock is basically rock type quick attack. Anyway, let's rock tomb some Magikarps. This guy is a customary trainer that they always seem to like to put into these games. A dude with a team full of Magikarp. So this battle might take a while, and I do not know what else to rant about. Well, I guess I could just keep ranting about rock-type moves, but if you want to hit things with physical rock-type moves, you're going to have to take a gamble on the attack being inaccurate. So Stone Edge, one of the most widely used rock-type moves, has 100 power and 80 accuracy, so it does tend to miss somewhat frequently. That's why some people call it Stone Miss instead of Stone Edge. Ooh, critical hit, nice. Way to go, Yoga Pun. Anyway, the next reliable option, if you don't want to use Stone Miss, is Rock Slide. And Rock Slide has, I think, 75 base power and 90 accuracy. So even going with the next best option, you're trading a significant amount of power and for only 10 more accuracy, and it's not even guaranteed accuracy, or 100%, so it's not like it's the best thing out there. So, yeah. Rock tends to be a useful offensive type coverage to have. I think, I think using Metatite as an example, fighting plus rock is not resisted by any type combination out there, as far as I know, or any known type combination, and Sinnoh. Yeah, I think there are a few that can resist it, but those type combos aren't on any Pokemon in the Sinnoh region. Not the point. The point is, rock and fighting are very complementary type coverages, but because there are no 100% accurate rock type moves, it tends to make that rock type coverage a little shaky. But still, when you're looking for coverage moves, you use what you have available. So if you need to hit something hard with rocks, you go for Stone Edge and you roll those dice. It's part of what makes the thing Barry was talking about, making sure your attacks always hit. It's not always going to be an option. Sometimes you do need to roll the dice on a move that has undesirable accuracy, and you need that dice roll to come out positive to get yourself the win. Another good example of that is a move called Focus Blast. It's a high power special fighting type move that was added in this generation, since Generation 4 is when we got the physical special split. I think it's got at least 100 base power, but I think it might actually be a little bit higher, and it has 70% accuracy. But it still gets a lot of use, or ends up on a lot of Pokemon, because it's the only fighting type coverage they get, and fighting tends to be a very useful offensive type. It's the only thing normal is weak to, so having access to Focus Blast allows you to essentially double the damage output you would do with Focus Blast normally. Fighting also hits rock, steel, and ice for super effective damage. Being able to hit steel in particular is extremely useful, since steel is a very, very good type defensively. You can never go wrong with adding a steel type. Eh. And then there are ways to boost your own accuracy, but taking the time to boost your accuracy comes at the cost of you're basically giving your opponent a free pass to do whatever they want in the meantime. So yeah, when it comes to Pokemon, it tends to be either a lot of gambling. You either gamble on a lower power move with a higher accuracy, or you gamble on something that'll hit harder, and perhaps hard enough to take your opponent out in one shot, but it's not guaranteed to hit. Alright, here we have a Goldeen. A Goldeen is always a weird Pokemon. As far as I know, it's available in almost every single game. I don't think it's actually in Scarlet and Violet, and I don't believe it was in Legends Arceus before that. But I think aside from that, Goldeen is in every generation. But yeah, Goldeen just tends to be extremely annoying because it tends to learn a lot of confusion-oriented moves. So like water pulse can cause confusion, it gets supersonic, and I think it can also get confuse ray, but I'm not 100% sure. And Goldeen tends to be not slow, or well, early on at the very least. So yeah, Goldeen. It's very annoying to deal with, it's always there. I've never actually used a Goldeen, but to be fair, I don't think anyone ever has. Unless they've been forced to by a Nuzlocke or something. Which reminds me, I have never actually completed a Nuzlocke. I've started up a bunch, but I tend to give up at about halfway because I get bored. Being locked out of using certain Pokemon tends to frustrate me in the middle of the Nuzlocke. Although I should always just look at the Nuzlocke less as I'm not allowed to use these Pokemon I want to use, and more like I get to use these other Pokemon I happen to get my hands on. But that's a problem for future Spaced Oyster. Present Spaced Oyster just needs to defeat one more trainer. I'm pretty sure that last guy on the bridge is another trainer we can battle, and once we have defeated him, we will have given all of the experience we could on that route to Yogapun. Well, aside from battling the wild Pokemon in the grass, but those don't count. Anyway, let's talk to you, mister. Oh, yeah, he was not a trainer, so I just wasted my time doing all that. I don't know if I was on a tangent worth finishing or not, so we'll just go ahead and call that here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.